Alrighty, said we were going to start messing with the LS1 block, so here we go. I've already started doing what I'm doing, and I figured, well, maybe you want to see what I'm doing, instead of just me talking about what I done did. Oh yeah. So, just running the dingle homes. Tons of videos on how to do this, whatever. I'm pretty sure all the experts gonna say I'm doing it wrong, but saturate. So I've done saturated this multiple times. They're pretty wet. But anyway, I get that wet, saturated in oil. I'm just using 30 weight, whatever, conventional oil. And then I saturate my rag, get it nice and wet, and then use that to daub oil in the cylinder that I'm running. And then on the first one I do, I just pick a number. So I've done 40. I don't know. I really don't know the standard amount of laps. And you get it moving. You're not full speed. I mean, I don't know if you're supposed to. I found if you try going full speed, it's just rocking all over the place. So just get it kind of moving. And then once it starts to go, just hammer down and start your up and downs. So I've done this one. You can see the one I haven't done. And then I've done these two. And you just cleans the crap out of it. Not like clean the crap, but clean the actual crap. You know, puts a little bit of shine in there. You can see the factory crosshatch is still there, so it's not like I'm, doing anything spectacular. I'm just taking this glaze, this haze, this crud layer off. That's all I'm doing. You can go to a machine shop and have them diamond hone it and all that stuff with some precision, but we're not doing that. This was just at the machine shop, and this machinist said, nope, don't need to do that. So we didn't. We, as in me and the car owner's decision. So I'm gonna knock out a couple real quick, and I'll do these two, and y'all see how I get down on it. If you can even see anything. So just sop this and run it in there. And there's enough coming off of this that it's running down the cylinder walls. And I make sure I get some up here on top of the deck. So when you try and start it, the beads don't grab and etch up on that. You know what I mean? So, it's a little dry. Oh yeah. Watched one video on this years ago. Did it one time. I'm no expert. Professional engine guys that are crying right now. I don't know. if I'm doing it by the book or not, but shit do be looking good. It do be looking good. Get those beads too soppy and just throws oil all over the shop. And then for whatever reason you think that having a white toolbox is a great idea. And now it is speckle sprayed with oily mess. Something else you gotta clean up. I think the faster you're moving it up and down, the more cross hatch angle you're getting, you know what I mean? If you're going slower, it's gonna, whatever, you understand, science and shit, right? You understand. Okay, try not to drop my rig here. See? Shiny. So, I know it's, don't spray them like brake cleaner, solvent. Don't use a solvent. You can rub it down more oil, WD-40, something like that. But don't just go hit it with solvent. I guess the solvent goes into the fresh whatever. And then, yeah, I don't know. Somewhere on the internet it says don't use solvent. So coat it, and then you have this crap down everywhere. Can you see down there? That's goo slung all over the place. So you have to clean that. So coat this oil to kind of protect it, and then clean all that shit with solvent, and then clean this again, and then coat it, and then clean it, and clean it, coat it, clean it, coat it. So it's a process, but look at this side. Hold on. Let me get me a Legite. Looks pretty good, huh? Compared to old and crusty. And that's just, that stuff being slung. But big difference. So it's worth it. So picking up on this LS1 for the C5. What had happened was this came in supposed to just get a cam swap. It's kind of like a stage 3. I think it's a BTR. I'm not sure. But I wanted to go with a jam cam optimized for the supercharger. Pulled that out. Cam bearings look like crap. They all look like crap. Suggested to him. He said, let's go ahead, refresh it. So new bearings, new ring. Oh, the pistons looked crappy. because somebody sprayed this before. It had nitrous on it. So some of the pistons looked like they got a little hot. There's just some issues. So he decided, let's just go ahead. We got some, lower level. We got some Summit forged pistons, some forged rods, some goodies. Let's just go through it, Stock crank will hold what he's not doing too much of this. Under 700 horse. But anyway, so I got a LS specific cam bearing tool, put it in there, and LS cam bearing, or I don't know about all of them, but the aluminum ones, they're tapered. Whatever, the cam bearing tool was too big. It messed up one of the journals, and I had to go on an adventure to get it fixed. So went to 3 different machine shops, took 9 weeks to get done, but I finally found a guy to hog this out. And I think what he did was got 5 number 5s and bored it all out and made it all the same, so instead of a 1, 5, 2, 4, and a 3, it's all number 5s. So anyway, he got it fixed. We were going with ARP main studs on this. So he torqued those down, put a line hone on it. He said it took a little bit, and you can kind of see. So the mains look good. I went through and dingle ball honed it last night. Cleaned the board hone up a little bit. Looks pretty good. So now we're just going to move forward, and first thing I'm going to do, like I said before, I got some plastic gauge, which, this isn't a precision. This is just some ballpark stuff, right? So we're going to look in the manual, see what our specifications are. Then we're just going to throw some plastic gauge in there, and then that should get you a ballpark to know whether or not you're in tolerance. Which I fully expect us to be. So anyway, we're going to run plastic gauge. If something looks jacked up on plastic gauge, then we're going to break out the calipers and bore gauges and stuff like that. But I'm going to get this. I'm not going to. My big thing with this is I'm not a tutorial. I'm not teaching anybody how to do any of this stuff. I just don't want to. Don't want you to be like, oh, well, this guy says this. I'm just doing shit my way, and that's what it is. So I'm not going to teach you how to do this. There's plenty of videos out there with guys who are probably trained experts that will teach you how to do any of this. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. So we'll put the bearings in, set the crank in, torque, do the plastic gauge piece by piece, torque the shit down, read the plastic gauge. We'll do the crank first. Everything looks good on the crank, then that'll get assembly lube and installed permanently, and then we'll move to the rods. As the rods look good, well, before even that. So we'll do the crank, and then we'll have to get into the bores, and we're gonna file fit piston rings. Open them up just a smidgen for a little bit of boost. So we'll take care of that and get the pistons all ready to put in. And then we can plastic gauge the rod journals. And then everything after that's just the top end. So I just want to spec everything as, whatever, as much as I can. So there's confidence there on both of our ends. Confidence in him that everything was done right. Confidence that, whatever may occur to this, not my fault. So that's what I'm gonna spend today doing. Should be fun. Chugging along, got main caps off, some bearings in there. Everything's dry for now. Went to pull the crank off the shelf. Been sitting there for way too long, and realized I never cleaned this pig. So spending way too much time over here cleaning it, and figure I'll show you a little part of the process, because the after doesn't mean shit until you see what the before looked like. So didn't do anything with it. Pulled it out, wiped it off, put it up there, and it kind of drip dried for a little bit. So got a can of brake cleaner, and then that leaves this haze on here, this film on here. So some WD, some green pad, and soft bristle brush, and you just gotta work it. So this is your before. Looks like crap, right? Not your after. Looks all clean and new. So ain't nothing, nothing spectacular here, but you don't appreciate this without seeing this, and then knowing it takes about 2 hours to do. Just take your time, do it right. Stay off of your machine surfaces with anything abrasive. Too abrasive. I mean, I'm using soft bristles, so, but you're definitely not going to take like 80 grit and put it on your machine surfaces. So that's all I'm doing. Once I get this cleaned up, then we can stuff it down up in here, put our caps on, and start the plastic gauge process. All right, crankshaft is in. After the cleaning, we went journal by journal, installed the bearings dry, put the plastic gauge in, and they all spec'd at 0.0015. Number 2, a little bit tighter. It was a little bit over 0.0015, but on the gauge itself, it's just a jump. You know what I mean? So it was a little bit over in the green. It's a little bit wider than the white. Come on, focus, focus, focus. But not wide enough for the green. So I'm good with it. And then clean all the plastic crap off, assembly lubricant, and then torque to spec. Side bolts are in too. Those are torqued down. Make sure you put RTV behind those bolt heads. And then another thing to keep in mind, get all your mains started, but before you torque them down, put your RTV on, and then start your side cap bolts. And that way, those are in line before you torque these down. If you torque these down and get a little out of line, you might not be able to get those in. So make sure you get those started first. So now, I'm gonna roll it over. I am going to do some mathematication, find out what the piston manufacturer wants for, ring gap. I'm gonna gap rings, get pistons assembled and installed so we can, plastic wrap the rods. After that, it's just general assembly. Get the camshaft put in, timing set, and move on. So, barring any issues, this thing should be complete and ready to put in here in a couple of hours. Even taking your time, going really slow, this doesn't take a lot of time. Just don't move so fast that you skip a step. But simple stuff. We'll not be ready to go in a couple hours because I got the wrong piston rings. So got those on order. They're going to be a couple days to get here, but Till then, this gets back burnered and I'll move on to something else.